Hello everybody, I'm Charlie from Dr. Wen, and welcome along to a brand new Doctor Who YouTube video. As you can probably guess from this thumbnail and the title of this video, then I will be ranking all episodes of Series 12 of Doctor Who. So by Series 12, I don't mean Season 12 from 1975 in Classic Who, I mean Series 12 from just this year actually, in New Who, which is the revival since 2005. So I'm going to be ranking all 8 stories of this series. There are 10 episodes, however there are 2 different two-parters. This series has the 13th Doctor, and the stories are the 2-part Spyfall, Orphan 55, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, Fugitive of the Judoo, Praxis, Can You Hear Me?, The Haunting of Villa Diodati, and the 2-part Cybermen and Master finale, Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children. So there we go. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and if this video is terrible quality, please be aware you can increase the quality in YouTube settings. You don't have to just watch it in like 240p or whatever its natural setting is. So without further ado, let's get into this video. In 8th place is Orphan 55, an episode which gets quite a lot of hate actually. I don't think it quite deserves the immense amount of hate it gets, but I still don't really like it, and I've given it a 5.8 out of 10. It's pretty bad because, I think the concept is decent actually. I think the whole future Earth that's been polluted so much it now resembles this rocky barren planet is actually pretty cool, and the mutated humans called dregs, they were actually pretty neat creature design actually, but we have way too many side characters in this, all incredibly annoying, and one who just constantly walks around saying Benny, which is incredibly annoying and has been made into plenty of memes. And yes, the plot's just really clunky in that shift isn't the best, with that whole white luxury hotel spa place all the way to this rocky barren planet. It's just quite a clunky shift, and I don't think it really works. This would have been better had it been a 2-parter and it had actually fleshed out and not as many side characters. Next up, in 7th place, we have Can You Hear Me?, the 6th story and 7th episode in this series. In general, I think this is a very overlooked episode, and incredibly underrated as well. I've given it a 7.4, and I actually really like this, mainly because of the villain. The villain is so good in this. He's very creepy as well, and he doesn't have exactly malicious intentions as such. He's just trying to collect enough energy to kind of sustain his friend who's been trapped between these 2 planets. It's actually a really cool idea. And the only thing that's pushing this down for me is how there's lots of different locations. We have modern day Earth, we have this like ancient Syria, we also have the spaceship. It just doesn't really work in that way. Had it been mainly set on the spaceship, it would have been much better, but the villain is still really creepy with the fingers in people's ears, giving them nightmares. It's really good, and I think it utilises the companions really well as well. It also gives a lot of development to Yaz, which is one of my favourite companions in the 13th Doctor's era, and I'm glad she's returning for Series 13 because of this. Next up, in 6th place, we have Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. This is the 3rd story and 4th episode of the series, and in general, again, I think it's a very overlooked story. I think lots of people don't really like its surrounding episodes, Orphan 55 and Fugitive of the Judoo, so it's kind of overshadowed by those, but I think it's a nice little historical. With lots of historicals, I think they should have been pure historicals. In this case, I actually don't. I think the creature design for this is amazing. She looks incredibly creepy, and a lot like the Rachnos from The Runaway Bride, the 2006 Christmas special, and it's genuinely creepy with the kind of H-shaped fangs. She's got the horns just like the Rachnos does. She's got that really cool armour. I think she's a really interesting villain, and all those scenes where she's kind of chasing them across wherever they are, I think it's Canada, that was actually really enjoyable, and it gives a lot of development to the companions as well. It actually gives them things to do. I also really like the character of Nikola Tesla, and his dynamic with Thomas Edison is hilarious, and I can actually imagine them both being like that in real life. So yes, I think this is really good, and yeah, just a nice little historical story. Next up, in 5th place, we have The Haunting of Villa Diodati, the final 2-parter before the 2-part finale, Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children. In general, again, it's really good, and I think it's an overlooked historical. However, it is widely regarded as one of the best 13th Doctor episodes, along things like Ascension of the Cybermen, Kablam, Fugitive of the Judoo to an extent, Resolution, things like that. It's regarded as one of the much better ones, and I completely agree. I think it's quite a scary story as well. The setting's very good, having this kind of haunted mansion. It's just like a classic chilling ghost story. The house is kind of going in on itself. I really liked all those scenes. It reminded me of some levels of Super Mario I used to play like 5-10 years ago. And yes, it's just a really enjoyable story. The lone Cyberman Ashard is a brilliant villain. I really like the design, and it also gives us a lot of development for the companions, especially Graham, who was worrying his cancer might have come back. I think that might tie into Revolution of the Daleks quite a lot. I have a really bad feeling that Graham is sadly going to die in Revolution of the Daleks, so it gives him a lot more development before his departure either way. Next up, we have Fugitive of the Judoo, an episode I actually really enjoy. This is widely regarded as one of the better 13th Doctor stories. Lots of people still don't like it, however. I don't really know why. It's quite unnecessary hate it gets. In general, I really enjoyed it. I think it was one of the better returning villain stories for Series 12 and Series 11 as well. However, that doesn't really have any returning villains, unless you count the Daleks in Resolution, which some people think is Series 12. Anyway, I think this is really good. We are introduced to the Ruth Doctor, who has been using a chameleon arch. We haven't really seen a chameleon arch since Series 3, so it was nice to come back to that. The Ruth Doctor is brilliant. I've made a video about the Ruth Doctor. Well, I've talked about the Ruth Doctor a lot in the video, and I actually really enjoy her as a Doctor. I really wish she returned for Series 13. The Judoo are also really good. There's nothing special about them, they're just kind of there. I don't really think they're the main point of this story. It's mainly about the Ruth Doctor, the Division, and yeah, just kind of it gives us a lot of insight into the Doctor's backstory on Gallifrey. And yes, it just gives us a little bit more information on the Timeless Child before the revelation is actually spilled to us, which is what I really, really like. Next up, we have Praxis, the 6th episode and 5th story of the series. In general, Praxis is a really hated story, actually. However, this is one of my favourites of the series. I think this is 3rd. It's really, really good. Lots of people kind of bash it for having too many side characters, a clunky plot, and sending an environmental message. And I'm just going to kind of go through each of these points, explaining why they're not that bad. The clunky plot, I don't really see it. I think it's lots of people in different groups solving a mystery in 3 different parts of the world. I think it utilises the different settings a lot better than Can You Hear Me, and to an extent Orphan 55. And yeah, I think that's really good as well. The side characters are actually very enjoyable and are given quite a lot of development throughout the story, so we actually feel sorry for them when they either die or feel happy for them when they have a nice ending, like the the same-sex couple do. And in terms of the environmental message, I like stories with environmental messages. It's sending messages to children who are watching, that pollution and plastic in the ocean is bad and we need to stop it. And yeah, I think it's actually really good how Doctor Who's doing this a lot more now, with episodes like Arachnid in the UK for littering and plastic and all of that, and also Orphan 55 for like pollution and things like that. So yes, I think that's really good for doing that as well. Next up, we have the 2-part introduction to the series, Spyfall. Wow, I've really loved this. I've given it a 9.3 out of 10. I actually significantly prefer the second part to the first. I think the second part, Spyfall Part 2, I've given a 9.5, and the first part I've given a 9.1. However, they're both really solid stories, and they work really well with each other. I think the whole creatures made of light thing is really, really cool, and that dimension that the Doctor is sent to by those creatures is actually really, really cool, and I really like the design. I think it's a very good introduction to Series 12. The whole spy genre is really good as well. I was kind of waiting for New Who to do something like that, because the temptation is always there to do a sort of spy genre, because they never really ventured into that area of genres. So I'm really glad they did that as well. The new Master cliffhanger is brilliant. I really like the reveal on the plane that's crashing. That's one of the best cliffhangers of New Who, definitely in the top 10. The Master reveal again is really, really good. I really actually enjoy this Master. He's my favourite incarnation in New Who anyway. I'm just getting started with Classic Who Masters, so I don't really include those in my rankings just yet. In first place, we have Ascension of the Cybermen and the Timeless Children, the two-part finale of the series. And what can I say but wow, this is one of the best two-parters in all of New Who. I've given it a 9.6 out of 10. I'm not even up to it in the rewatch, but I remember really loving this when it was first broadcast. Ascension of the Cybermen is generally better, with it having a 9.7, and Timeless Children having a 9.5, but they're both incredible stories, absolute masterpieces, they're really, really good. Ascension of the Cybermen is a really creepy kind of action Cyberman story with a group of Cybermen on the ship. We have Yaz and Graham on that ship, and then we have the Doctor and Ryan down below on Earth fighting against that band of Cybermen with all those humans in future Earth after the Cyber Wars. It's such a good concept. I really like A Shard of the Lone Cyberman again, and that sort of subplot we have with Brendan is actually really good, and there's so much mystery, like, what does he have to do with all of this? And we find out in the second part, which is the Timeless Children. Not quite as good as Ascension, I must say, however I still loved it so much. The revelation of the Timeless Child wasn't that much of a shock to me. It was kind of teased even as early as the Ghost Monument, which is Series 11 Episode 2, and I actually really like it. I do think it would have been made more sense with the Master, however I'm certainly not complaining. It's a really interesting plot development for the Doctor, and I really want to see how she reacts to it in Series 13, and also the Cyber Masters are really good. The whole concept of the Master destroying Gallifrey again is really, really good, and this is just such a good episode in general. It's so good. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, everybody. Like I said, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like this video, and post your opinions on this video and your ranking of Series 12 episodes in the comments below. And yes, next time. So tomorrow I'm actually going to be reviewing the third Doctor story, The Demons. So I will see you then, and goodbye.